Hi guys, so if you're buying a house or buying a home for the first time in Europe, I have a guide here to help you navigate the European real estate market. So let's get started. So first we'll do an introduction to European home buying. So what's the importance of home ownership? You know that owning your home definitely provides stability and security and a potential financial growth. In many European countries, home ownership is seen as a vital part of personal and social identity, and it's often linked to community involvement in family well-being. So, what's the overview of the housing market in Europe? So, the European housing market is diverse and is characterized by varying regulations and market conditions across different countries. Some factors such as stability, population, and trends, government policies, and all that are the different things that actually affects home buying in different countries across Europe. So if you're buying a home for the first time, what are the things you should consider? For a first-time buyer, you should really assess your financial readiness, and then another thing you should consider is the location of where you're buying. I learned that if you're trying to buy a house, most times it's really expensive in the major cities to buy. So if you can buy in the city, I learned that buying 30 minutes to 1 hour from the city center or from a major town is usually like a very good investment because most people that can afford to live in the city, they usually try to leave some driving distances from the city. Also, it's also good if you're considering access to transportation. So if you have trains and buses on your route, it's also it's a good factor to look at when you're choosing a location. And also, you should also understand the buying process of every country. So for each market, there are different rules and regulations, legal requirements, customs for each market. So, and also every market has unique and potential pitfalls that can impact your purchasing experience. So those are like some of the things you should really consider before taking the first step to buying your home. So how do you research your options? So definitely across Europe, there's a lot of popular destinations that you can buy. Cities like Lisbon, Barcelona, and Berlin are good choices for first-home buyers due to the vibrant culture and strong rental markets. Dublin is also a good place. I live in Dublin, and the market here is crazy. It's also a good place to buy. And then there are also other regions in Europe. You should do your research and decide, do you want to buy in a buzzing market or you want to live somewhere quiet. If you're buying for investments, it makes sense to buy, close to in buzzing cities. And then if you're buying for family to live, if you maybe opt for a quiet lifestyle, that makes sense to look for a quieter location to buy a house. So another thing you should do is try to understand the local real estate trend wherever you're trying to buy. So you need to be familiar with local market dynamics. Okay, that's very essential. So for instance, in cities like Berlin, for instance, you could experience a significant price rises, whereas in rural areas, that you may possibly have affordable options, but the growth there might be slower. They might not grow as fast as properties you buy in the city areas or buzzing urban areas. So how do you evaluate the property type you're buying? So there are differences between an apartment and a house. Now, an apartment usually require lower maintenance and maybe located in urban centers, while houses are typically offer space, privacy, and also it appeals to families and those. Maybe if you have interest in gardens, big parking spaces, you might want to go more for a house instead of apartments. Now, some other thing you should actually consider is the financial planning for your first home. How do you plan for your first home? Of course, the first thing is definitely budgeting. So you have to create a budget, and that's very essential for first-time home buyers. So this could include what's the maximum price of the house you're trying to buy. You set a budget. Is it 300, 400, 500,000? Does it extend to a million? You set the budget for yourself. And the maximum price limits should also factor in monthly expenses. So that's what you'll be spending on on um, on the house in maintaining the house. For instance, in most countries, you have to pay property tax. In some places, it's 10% of the house value. Sorry, 1% of the house value. For instance, in Ireland, is 1% of the house value. Different countries have different rates. That's something you have to consider because it's like a cost, a continuous cost for the property. And then consider things like utility. If you have a bigger house, you definitely pay more for utility, in the sense that you spend more on heating. If you have a bigger space, you generally spend more on utility, you know. So also depending on where you buy, if you live in an estate, there could be things like estate levies, a lot of other things that you have to pay. These bills just keep coming and coming and coming. So you should definitely consider those when you're buying a house. Another very important thing is understanding the mortgage. Mortgages in Europe vary country by country and with different terms, interest rates. So it's important for you to compare the fixed and variable rates of mortgages and then evaluate eligibility criteria to help you secure the best deal. I always advise that you get like a mortgage broker to help you do the comparison and then just present you with your options. There are other additional taxes and in terms of fees and maintenance. So for homeowners, homeownership involves more than just you buying the house and that's it. You should be prepared for other additional expenses such as you have to pay notary fees, to pay stamp duties, and then also you have to maintain the house. There could be renovation costs, like there's a lot of other additional costs that comes with the house. Even after buying the house, setting up the house also is very expensive. Some houses don't come with a lot of the major installations done. Some houses may not come with floors, some may not come with wardrobes. You have to do all that yourself, set your fix your cabinets, work on your kitchen, finish your bathrooms. There's a lot of additional costs that were able to come after buying the house. So you should be conscious, very conscious of those. Something else I want us to look at is how to navigate the buying process. Now, things like finding a real estate agent. A knowledgeable real estate agent is very essential, if you're navigating the market, because these agencies, they have the knowledge, they know, possess local expertise, access to property listings, negotiation skills, and they can significantly influence your buying experience and help you secure the best deal. It's always advisable that you go for agents around the location you're trying to buy, around the towns and cities you're trying to buy, because it's expected that they have more knowledge, of the area and the specific requirements, regulations, around that area. So get your agents, your solicitors, whoever you're using, try to get them around the area that you're buying the property. So if you're viewing and making offers, when you're viewing properties, access should not only be about the aesthetics. You should do what's called snagging. Getting experienced people to look at the property and then check for faults and all that. So they're checking for things like structural integrity. You could also check for amenities around the neighborhood. And then once you found the property that you want to go for, make sure you make an offer on time, because if you don't, for instance, you might lose the opportunity, because in some markets there's so much demand that people are just waiting for deals to fall off the table for them to jump in. So consider market conditions and then you make your choice. So what are the roles of legal professionals when you're trying to buy? So they play a very crucial role in purchasing. They ensure that you comply with local laws. They also help you prepare the necessary documents when I saw the documents, you need to sign on that this your solicitors, handle. I saw a very large heap of documents just for one house, and that's definitely a lot of paperwork. So these legal professionals help you do that, and they also help you check and protect your right. You definitely need a qualified lawyer because they can help you identify potential issues, help you read through the agreements, and then also provide guidance on your contract and property and all that other additional information that you need. So lastly, you've gone through your house buying process. How do you move in? How do you settle in? So the very first thing is organizing your move. Okay, efficient moving requires you creating a detailed plan, and that should include your hiring reputable moving companies, and then have to start coordinating and packing your essentials early, which involves includes your belongings, pack them into boxes way ahead of time. Start very early, because you might think you don't have much things in your house, but trust me, when you're moving, you'll be screaming like, where did all these things come from? You definitely have a lot of things in your house. So get good transportation options based on distance and volume, and make sure your location process is a smooth. If you can hire reputable companies that are known for moving, that's great, but they charge you more. And then sometimes if there's a damage while moving, some companies may cover. But if you want a cheaper option, you could go for individual independent operators that are usually cheaper when you're trying to move. Another thing is understanding legal regulations or local regulations. So Each country in EU has unique housing laws, has tax implications, and then regulations for homeowners. You have to familiarize yourself with the local laws and the zoning regulations. And some places that have homeowner associations and they have guidelines. In Ireland they have a lot of different rules. Just get familiar, and these are some of the things that your legal professional should be able to help you with. Then how do you integrate with local communities? You could join local groups, participate in events. If it's a new country that speaks a different language, learn the language to help you integrate better. Try to build relationship with your neighbors, attend social gatherings, and just, try to establish yourself and get integrated into the community that you are buying into. So these are some of the tips that I have for you if you're buying a house for the first time in Europe. Those are some of the tips I have. If you have more questions, you can reach me in the comments. I can answer a lot of questions. I'm a homeowner myself. I've bought in an EU country, so I might be able to answer some of the questions and then maybe share some of the experiences that I went through with you. So I hope if you find this helpful, and then there's a tip or two here that can come in handy for you when you're trying to buy a house in Europe. So good luck, and hope your first time buying is a great experience. See you in another one. Bye for now.